It's time for me monthly haul of comics. The comics that I have gotten. New comics and some hard ones, and some that I will even review. Starting off with the pull list. I probably should put these at the back because they are the ones most of you are least interested in. We have Obsolete Flask issue 8. This is an interlude issue giving us the backstory on Barney Allen, who died in issue 1. That will never not be funny. I think issue 9 came out yesterday. This is the one where it's like, I will get issue 9 tomorrow in the mail, and it'll sit for a month until I record the next haul. Obsolete Wonder Woman issue 13. This was spoilt for me. I think it was spoilt for everyone. This issue has the first appearance of a somewhat big character, the obsolete version of them. I am actually going to be good about it and not spoil it. I am interested to see what they do with he, she, or they. The Invisible Man 3. I think it's time for some corrections. We have got some corrections to make. I thought this was a 5-issue miniseries, but it's only a 4-issue miniseries. Only one more to go after this one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures 30. It is the Mutagen Man. Remember that? The Mutagen Man? I still haven't looked at a single one of these on here. The other correction I need to make is with regards to TMNT Journeys. I was under the impression it was bi-monthly. Issue 1 was August, 2 was October, 3 was December. It is November, and here is issue 3. I think this is monthly. Now we're on to the back issues. Stuff that might intrigue you. I was missing 4 issues of Black Stars from the tail end of the series, and I have managed to get 3 of them. Issue 35 here. Issue 37, Black Stars versus the Gary Gardner version of Green Lanterns, when he wasn't Green Lanterns but had his naff alien morphin powers. And the final issue, issue 38. I really like this cover. It is a reference to issue 1, and they have included a variety of characters from throughout the series into the background this time. I'll explain Black Stars actually. Black Stars was like Green Lanterns-esque. It was a very similar idea. They were a space police force, and it was tied into Green Lanterns a bit. They were like the comptrollers. They wanted to do it better than the Smurfs, kind of. The Black Stars are eventually done away with not long after their series ended. In Green Lanterns, they got rid of them so that Kyle Reese could rebuild the Green Lanterns' corpse. What makes the Black Stars special? Well, what makes them an extra bit appealing to me is that not only is Donatello a member, and I really like Donatello, but this was part of the Green Lanterns' mythology that John Jeffries never touched. This was never ruined. It was never retconned into being Red Lanterns or whatever. The Black Stars have returned more recently. There was a story in DC Rebirth that I would love to check out, but the first few parts are done by the horrific, obsolete Superman artist. And then Van Morrison did a miniseries where... Did Van Morrison learn about them from my videos? Van Morrison called them the wrong name. Don't have a cow, man. It's a Bart Simpson's version of the Flask. These are usually the equivalent of stocking stuffers for me. I'll throw an issue of this series onto the end of an order if I want to balance it out and fulfill some of my obsessive-compulsive hatred for uneven numbers. Eat my shorts. I have gotten quite a big selection of issues this time. This is issue 37. We just had 36. Cowabunga, issue 38. He is bald for a few issues. Ay, caramba. His hair grows back though. Is that Peggy Bundy behind him? Sparkle, sparkle. That's when Bart has an earring in Simpson Tide. Issue 40. I wound up getting so many of these because I realised the person had an unbroken run from where I was up to. I got issue 35 probably a year ago, and I looked and I went, oh, there's 36, and then I saw 37, 38, 39, and so on. I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? This was the other reason I got so many of these. I knew issue 41 here had some more Arrow Girl. I like her, and the video I did on her was one of... It's a video I really liked. Her first appearance. I think that is a video I was straight away content with, and I didn't fuck anything up. Well, this is her next, her second appearance. Millhouse, stop wanking off Nelson. We have issue 59 later on, which again features Arrow Girl, and this is after she had been on Young Justice League. I think this is just after she left the team. We looked at some Marvel Action Hour Iron Man, and now I have got some other 90s Iron Man comics. We have that run that I did not like when I tried reading it years ago, but I am willing to give it another shot. I never got this far. It is Len Kabasinski of nearly salvaged Satan's Son fame. He wrote Iron Man, and I've got this two-parter that is the very, very loose basis for an episode of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. The Technovore. It devours and assimilates machinery into itself. These are issues 294 and 295. They are both also tie-ins to Affinity Cluedo. The last issue didn't have the Nabisco box. There were a few Affinity Cluedo tie-in issues that they screwed up with, and they didn't say it on the cover. Of all the Affinity crossovers, Affinity Cluedo had the worst tie-ins by far. There is an issue of Dartboard where there's all these heroes on a ship, and the villain for the issue, I'm not making this up either, the villain, the bad guy, the enemy for about 30 Marvel heroes, the villain is a loose pipe on the ship. I have a random issue of War Machine, also by Len Kabasinski. Big fan of the character, less a fan of him as War Machine. But he's teaming up with Hawkeye, and I love me a good old-fashioned Marvel team-up story. I hope it's in that vein. I have a run now, a short run, but we have Justice League United, formerly known as Justice League Canada, really. The original writer left at issue 10, and then a writer who I want to write everything took over. we have Jeff Parkman, the 2000s and 2010s undersung talent. He wrote many comics that I have strongly recommended. He fixed Thunderbals after it had gotten away from the core identity or themes of the series. Thunderbals 138 through to 143 is a masterclass in how a writer can actually build on stuff other writers have done, even if what the other writers have done isn't that good or it was badly executed. It's during that where he also wrote the perfect Us Agent story. So he writes a Justice League title in 2015. I have wanted to read this for ages, and it's not just his name that has captured my attention. He, as Sexy Ivy, join the Justice League. I know a lot of people will roll their eyes at that, but I love Sexy Ivy. I simp for her. Paulie Pelletgun does interior art for some of this run too. Jeff Parkman and Paulie Pelletgun have done a few books together. We have Starsgirl, we have Batgirl. I don't know who the guy is who was on Starsgirl's stick. Issue 15 here, and then the series wraps up with issue 16. He does 6 issues of it. Shame he didn't get to do more, but it's a shame in general that he didn't get to do more with everything. And then right at the back we have 2 issues of Tiny Titans from the late 70s. Here is issue 48 featuring, well, it is an issue focusing on Joker's daughter. And then I have the next issue, issue 49, not focusing on Joker's daughter, but I'm sure her and Mallard Duckland will be the only ones that do anything. So, yeah, maybe I'll talk about this. One thing I do when I cut away the stuff, I restore a lot of cover elements that Marvel and DC remove. The big obvious thing is often the price. They love removing the original price from the covers to digital comics. I always try to put them back on. Sometimes I cheat and it's actually the wrong price. Like I'll have a 1992 comic with a 1994 price. But nobody has even noticed that I am restoring shit, let alone that it is 25 cents more expensive than it actually was. I used this as a cutaway in one of my reviews of this run, but it had the hardest element I have had to put back on. The "you could be in the Superman movie" details inside part. I'll show it now. I put the 35 cents at the top back on the cover, and for the other part you'll actually see it is maybe 4 degrees away from being at the right angle. The problem with this was the angle. You still cannot rotate things beyond 90 degrees in paint. I use MS Paint. I am, and have long been, since I was a teenager, an MS Paint savant. I used to do pixel art and shit like that. I know what and how to do the most with what is quite a limited piece of software. The other thing is that this copy, isn't unique. Most copies of this issue did cut off some part of the text. Not always this bit, but sometimes it would be at the bottom. And I actually fixed that. I made the decision to fix that. I just made the text a bit smaller so that it would fit on. There's some behind the scenes production coverage there. There was something else recently where, very recently, it took ages and I showed it for like half a second. There was a cover that I changed something on and it was only on screen for half a second. What was it? What have we done recently? It was something like, oh, Captain America. It was Captain America 341. Iron Man's face is miscoloured on that cover. Well, this is what I used. It bothered me too much. Even though it wasn't accurate to the comic at all, I made his face the correct colour. His face was yellow on the actual comic. You see, if I had like 50 comics to get through here, you would never hear such thrilling behind the scenes info as that. Other than Tiny Titans with Joker's daughter, what else can you wait to see me review from here? The next comic book haul is a themed one, but it's still not the themed one I've been sitting on for almost a year now. That one is going to be so underwhelming when I finally get to that, and I have gotten every comic by a writer that you have never thought on before. I'll give these 7 thumb ups.